Hey everybody, my name is Ian Hoppy. I'm the founder and CEO of Condoit. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video today. I'm just going to take you through kind of the basics of how Condoit works, how you can build a really basic little single line diagram, and kind of show you how all this sort of fits together and the way that our software works. So you can kind of get a sense of what a digital, what we mean when we say digital single line diagram. And kind of what the uses of Condoit can be. So this is your list of systems. As you can see inside of here, each one is the GM dealership. This is a hospital. Here are a bunch of our internal test systems. But if you have a license to Condoit, you and your team will see your collection of individual facilities. So these would be each one of your customers or the buildings that your customers own. And each one would be a standalone electrical system. And all of you will be able to share access to these systems. So if you build a system, your field guy or your journeyman or your apprentice can also see that system if they have a license to Condoit. But the way that we create a system, we'll go down here to New System, and we'll create a new system. In here, we'll say this is, we'll call this Demo Office Building. We're going to add the system, and it's going to come right here. So here it is. There's Demo Office Building. And so I'm going to click on this, and it's got a blank canvas in here. We haven't started building yet. So the first thing we need to do is add a piece of equipment. So you go up here to this little add button right here. We're going to hit that, and it's going to bring this drop down, and you can see we've got a whole bunch of different kinds of equipment in here. Generators, utility connections, switchboards, panels, transfer switch, disconnects, VFDs, and even motors. So the first thing we probably want to add is a utility connection, just kind of the basics of the electrical system. And we'll say, okay, well, where is the utility connection? It says utility connection location. Say it's in the rear of the building. The service provider around here, I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, so our service provider here is Alabama Power Company. And then I've got all of the voltages built in here. So we'll say it's 277, 480 on the secondary side of the utility transformer. And we'll say, okay, add this utility connection. So now you can see that we have started building out this single line diagram out here, and this is the utility connection. It's got all the different parts of it in here. And then the next piece is we're going to add another piece of equipment. So downstream from the utility connection is likely a switchboard. So I'm going to add a switchboard here. We'll call this switchboard MS. Say the location is in the basement. When we add this switchboard, you can see now we've got two pieces of equipment here, but they're kind of floating in space. So if you click on any piece of equipment inside a Condoit, you tap on it, and it's going to bring up this little menu. You can do all kinds of things with this menu, but what we're going to do right now is connect these pieces of equipment. So you say connect, it's going to bring up these little nodes. You say upstream, and then connect to the utility connection. And what that does is it builds a raceway, a logical connection between these two pieces of equipment. And now, we have got these two pieces of equipment that we have a raceway in between them, and that raceway though is red right now because we have yet to fill it with information. So until you put all the requisite data into this raceway, it's not going to turn black. So we're going to click on that, and it brings up the raceway menu. So it's a raceway going from switchboard MS upstream to the Alabama Power Company utility connection. So since this is a service, we'll say it's PVC. I've also got different kinds of cable in here, including Romex. I've got bus duct in here, but we're going to start with non-flexible conduit. I've even got, Smurf tube in here. You may appreciate that. So PVC, we'll say it's PVC non-flexible conduit. We'll say it's 4 inches since it's a service, right? 4 inches, and there are, say, 4 parallel runs. So we've got 4 parallel runs of 4-inch PVC, and then we'll add conductors. So I'm going to add a conductor here. I've got all my gauges built into the software, so we'll say it's 500 MCM, and it is, say, 50 feet long. And we'll add a few more, so we'll add 3 more. And now I've got 4 parallel runs of 4-inch PVC containing 500 MCM conductors that are all 50 feet long. So I'm going to update that raceway, and you'll see that now this turns black, so we know we've collected everything we need, and it's labeled it 4 parallel runs of 4 number 500 MCM, all in 4-inch conduit. So this is kind of the flow of Conduit like this. So you add pieces of equipment. I'm going to add another piece of equipment. We'll add a panel really quick. We'll call it a panel PP1. The panel location is in the electrical room. It does do autofill. And then this is kind of throughout a lot of Conduit, how old is the piece of equipment? And this allows you at the end of the job to say, okay, let me see all the stuff that's more than 50 years old, or give me an average age of the electrical system. We'll say that this is more than 20 years old. It's got, say, 10 breaker spaces on the left and 10 on the right. And it's a main lug connection, not a main breaker or a main fuse switch, main lug. We'll add this panel. Now it's going to be out here floating. We're going to tap on a piece of equipment and hit connect, and then downstream connect. And you can see the next step would be to go in here and add the information about this raceway, but we don't necessarily have to do that immediately. We can go right now and add a transformer. So I'm going to add a transformer in here. We'll say, call it TX1, and it is in the electrical room as well. It's a little older, say more than 35 years, 3-phase, 45 kVA. Primary, what do we say? That's 277, 480. And then secondary 120, 208. You add that transformer. Now it's TX1 is out here. We can connect, and connect to the switchboard. And I'm going to go ahead and add some information in here, in particular conductors, but we'll say it's a 2-inch EMT. No parallel raceways, and we'll say this is number 6, let's say. And it is just 30 feet long. We'll add a few more, 4 more to be exact. 5 conductors. We update that raceway. It's going to turn it black here. Now I'm going to go inside the switchboard and I'm going to manage the breakers. You can see now this is just like a standard switchboard in a regular single line diagram. We can add a main breaker, the incoming main breaker, but we'll say this is main lug only. So if you hit this link button right here, it's going to bring up this little connection button, and you can connect the incoming wires here, the incoming conductors, to the main lug. And then on the other side, the outgoing, on the bottom of this bus, we'll add 1, 2 breakers, and you can see that there are question marks, so they need to be filled in. We'll say that this is going to that panel is 100 amps breaker, and then going to that transformer, we'll say that it is 125 amp breaker. And those are now filled in, and so here is going to my transformer TX1 in the electrical room. I can hit this link button, hit connect, and connect. So now this transformer is connected upstream to this 125 amp 3-pole breaker through the main lug and all the way up to the utility connection. And we'll add one more panel while we're in here just to be a little complete about it. We'll add a panel, and what's on the secondary side of that, so we'll call this one RP1. Panel location also in the electrical room. Say it's very, very new. It's more than 5 years old, but that's new in these terms. We'll say it's just 7 on both sides, however many there is. Main lug, add that panel. We can tap on that piece of equipment, and we can connect it to transformer. And you see, this is just kind of this is the flow of Conduit. You go through, you add pieces of equipment, you add connections. I'm going to do all this in a separate video. This is just, I'm kind of trying to build just a basic single line diagram. But I do want to show you one more thing before we get done here. I'm going to export this, export a single line diagram, and I'm going to take it just directly to the files on this simulation iPad here. We're going to save it, and then we're going to go back out to our main screen and go into files. And you can see, this is not ready to be. Here we go. Okay, so this is demo office building. You see right here, so I'm going to click on that. And I'm not sure why this is still here. Here we go, demo office building. So when I tap on that, it's going to bring up the single line that we just built. So here's our APC connection. Here is all the information about it, PP1, RP1, and most importantly down here in the bottom right corner down here is the information block. So it has the name of the system. There's a single line diagram report. This will have your company name. So once you sign up, it'll have your company name. That's our company name, but it'll have your company name along with your logo in here. It'll have the time and day that it's been built, and it'll also have the name again down there. But this will make a large system. I believe I have a large system in here that I can show you. Back in our large systems. This is a large system here. I've got ATSs in there. I've got switchboards. It'll build very large systems. Yeah, it all works very well. So we have seen a lot of effectiveness with our current customers building single line diagrams as a service for their customers. We'd love to talk more with you about that. But until then, thanks for watching, and we look forward to hearing from you.